Freedom of speech or life in prison. Imagine a life where saying that one's government could do better would lead directly to a jail sentence. Well, in Algeria, this is life for everyone. Algeria is having massive issues with freedom of speech and media, and their government does not like to allow any unorthodox or crazy ideas to be spread. Not only does slandering the government lead to enormous crippling fines and even possibly a jail sentence, but the Algerian government controls all of the media, TV, and radio stations, and the people can only access a few outside sources of media. The right to free speech is the essence of freedom, and the people are furious that it's being limited. There is nothing worse than removing a person's voice, and the Algerian government has removed an entire country's. The people have no ability to express themselves through any sort of means, and that is nothing short of a crime. The breaching of these limits has led to punishments such as the one expressed in this quote. Media professionals are still subject to charges, which can reach up to 300,000 dinars, which is almost $4,000. That's an outrageous measure considering the amount of money that most journalists make. People are fighting to expand their rights, but as many of us know, it's not easy. So far, these limits have affected families and reporters and have ruined hundreds of lives. Innocent, nice people have been put in jail and their families rendered bankrupt because of these illogical punishments. The Algerian government has been restricting people's voices and their right to free speech for a long time. They have been enforcing it with threats of jail and huge fines. In the past, any reporters that ended up going too far in the government's opinion ended up with a fat jail sentence and a big bundle of fines for their families. Such cruel punishments have led to many problems in Algeria, including a civil war in 1991. The people were pushed too far across the line with all the rights that have been taken away, and they decided to fight back. It was a violent conflict that in some ways led to more rights for the Algerian people, but also led to many problems. The Algerian government is cooperating with what other countries and their people are telling them to do, to some degree, however. For example, they even decided to remove jail sentences for slander in 2012 and even licensed 3 new private television stations, but they are fighting everything along the way. There are many proposed solutions to the problems caused by the repression by the Algerian government, but many of them think too small. Algeria has a chance of becoming a world where people can indulge in their own opinion, easily run for office, unionized. It could become a place where people can live free. But these people are talking about adding a few TV stations or lowering the price for free speech. Well, I say that baby steps are for the weak. Why take baby steps with such a wrong thing and such an obvious problems, and why not just change for the better? The Declaration of Human Rights explicitly states that every human has the right to unionize and speak freely, and the Algerian government is blatantly ignoring that. If they don't change now, they'll never change. Kamel Daoud is an Algerian freethinker that talks about how the government of Algeria has been using ideas like the Civil War to their advantage. This is a strategy for pushing me into exile, he said. Shape the public's opinion with old ghosts of the 1990s and the memories of civil war. Daoud has many insightful ideas on how the Algerian government has done wrong and possible fixes that mainly revolve around enormous change throughout the Algerian government. But such ideas have led him to essentially becoming the enemy of the Algerian government. He's a perfect example of how the Algerian government will try and cover up and snuff out any flame that will try and shed light on their problems. This man has been hurt so many times by his country's government, but he has not given up on them. Loyal to his country, he has started movements trying to change his beloved government and has even spawned the famous phrase, "On n'est pas couché," meaning we're not asleep. The Algerian government has many flaws to fix, and it is even clear to them that they need to change their ways and become a part of the 21st century, to avoid becoming less of a leader and more of a dictator. Even the Algerian government should know by now that if they don't change their ways on their own, they'll be forced into changing their ways. Freedom of speech is one of those rights that is crucial to any society. Taking that right away is taking away a person's ability to be human. Which is why this problem needs to be fixed, and it needs to be fixed now. There are 3 not so easy, but quite necessary steps that the Algerian government can use to solve their many problems. First is removing control of TV and radio stations. The people should be able to watch and listen to what they want, and they should remove their overly severe punishments for slander. It would not be important if it was just a warning or a ticket, but fines of thousands of dollars is overkill. They must allow their people to unionize, and their parties have the right to form. Their people have a right to form political parties and share their views. By doing these things, the Algerian government will restore many of the rights they stripped their people of. These may seem a little big or drastic to do all at once, but situations like this, the baby steps are a ridiculous idea. When it comes to freedom of speech, there are no baby steps. People either have it or they don't. I'm Henri Stephan, and this has been my TED Talk.